Tornado, justice is a hack.
Dude, bro, I know.
Tornado, justice wants to fuck. Tornado, justice is a hack.
Dude, bro, I know.
Tornado, justice wants to fuck. Tornado, justice is a hack.
Dude, bro, I know.
Tornado, justice wants to fuck. Tornado, justice is a hack.
Dude, bro, I know.
Tornado, justice wants to fuck. Tornado, justice is a hack.
Dude, bro, I know.
Tornado, justice wants to fuck. Tornado, justice is a...
Hello and welcome to JRE and Chill podcast. Today is November 19th, 2017, and I thought it was time to go over a few podcasts. At the moment, I believe I have Jay Mizzen, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but he's in the chat right now, and he's a part of the Discord Joe Rogan crowd. So at any rate, what I'd like to do is I'd like to start out with Billy Corgan. I believe it was last week, but Billy Corgan had a great interview on JRE. Before I do that, though, I'd like to go over what I'm pretty much going to be going over. I'm going to be going over the Bertcast, Your Mom's House, Bill Burr's MMP, Jay Leno's Garage, Church, Jocko Podcast, My Favorite Riff with Nikki Sixx, Hot Ones, Spicy Wings, The Nine Club, Kill Tony, and the BB Podcast. So this may take a little bit. I thought it was great. I've been a fan of theirs ever since they started out with Gish. The song I Am One is one of my favorite Pumpkins songs that I've ever heard. But it was really cool. It was a good damn watch. Pretty much the whole thing is what I like about the Smashing Pumpkins, the whole podcast is because Billy Corgan just don't give a fuck about you and what you think. I mean, he wants to please you as a fan, but when it comes right down to it, he is the dude he is. I mean, he owns Pro Wrestling, NWA. He tried to buy TNA, but I believe there was some kind of complications. They do go over that in the podcast. I gotta say this. I'm not a huge fan of pro wrestling, never have been. I kind of believe that it's theater for the mentally handicapped, but you know, that's just my opinion. Anyways, so there's more for you to find out on there. His father was a drug addict. Not drug addict. He was a drug dealer, kind of a gangster. So if you guys can check that out. It's kind of funny because on the podcast he looks like like he's fucking freezing to death because he's wearing a hoodie, and then he's got a winter jacket over the top of him like a fucking cape, which kind of cracks me up. Joe does in the podcast use the euphemism "rat in a cage," which I find fucking kind of funny. It made me giggle. They shoot through some Nirvana, Pumpkins, Turmoil. They talk about the music business, talk about working with Rick Rubin, and him being actually able to let go of control of everything, because at one time he recorded everything. He was in charge of everything, and for him to turn over some amount of creative control to Rick Rubin was a big thing, but they were friends. So I mean, well, they go over all that. You know, you have to watch and check it out. That's something that you want to check out. They go into a lot of music industry talk and a lot of Napster stuff. And you know, it appears that he was with Napster. It's just that the music industry just didn't understand how to monetize Napster and felt it was evil. So we've also got this beautiful link that I think sums up Billy Corgan at Disneyland looking happy as fuck. Let's get this. I'm on a roller coaster. Wish I didn't have to do this. Anyway, he's from Chicago, and he also had this to say. This is the Chicago shot clock. And every 2 minutes and 22 seconds, a person is shot. And every 12 hours and 33 minutes, someone is killed. They're murdered. So, got that going for them. Anyways, all right, so next up we got Iliza Shlesinger. And apparently she has a new book out. I'll tell you what, I'm not going to buy the fucking thing at all. Because, I mean, I have a hard time checking in on her fucking jokes. And Patrice O'Neal, if you get a chance, check out what Patrice O'Neal has to say about her on the Jim and Opie show. Do a YouTube search. He puts it very plainly, very clearly. He says, you know, how can I even pay attention to her jokes when she's got such nice tits? Basically, I'm paraphrasing, you know. She is cute, but holy shit, her message pissed me off to no end. If a group of chicks are standing somewhere and a guy walks up and says, "Hey, you got a lighter?" You know, that's almost considered sexual harassment, which is the biggest bunch of bullshit I've ever heard in my life. When did trying to be a nice person and just asking for a lighter become sexual harassment? This has got to be the tipping point, the fulcrum point where it goes back the other way. This is just so fucking bullshit. Anyways, next we're on to the Brian Regan episode 1040, and I don't know what he's selling. I'll be honest with you. I had a hard time paying attention to this one because this guy came on the podcast. I mean, I understand that comedians can't be funny all the time, and I guess this guy sells out everywhere he goes to. He's a top act and all that, but he's clean, you know, he's a good guy apparently. And the thing is that if you're going to come on a podcast, at least have something entertaining to talk about. The most entertaining thing this guy said was, I sit at home and watch police chase videos. Well, holy shit. Welcome to 70% of Facebook. That's about the end of this guy. I mean, he seems like a cool guy and all that if you're into dad jokes. But even the chat that I was in, the live chat that I was in that had him in it, it was constantly derailed because this guy just didn't have anything of substance to fucking talk about. So, that's all I got for that. Alright, the next up is 1041 JRE, and Dan Carlin is one of my modern day heroes. He's not the YouTube guy who just goes on or that, you know, checks out a bunch of wiki pages and sees what's popular and posts his opinion. He does a full-blown history podcast that, oh, it's just amazing. I listened to the Mongols. I've listened to Blueprint for Armageddon. I've listened to a lot of stuff he's done. He is the man. I love his knowledge. I love his voice. You never get tired of his voice. At least I don't. Jameson, who is in the chat right now, he says he was a good quality podcast. It was the podcast of the week, as far as I'm concerned. I love everything that Dan Carlin does. I can't say enough good stuff about him. The podcast is one of the ones that I would listen to 3 or 4 times just to collect all the knowledge that he says during the podcast. It's amazing. The guy is amazing. Please check him out. Check out his other work. Um, I can't say enough good about Dan Carlin. And of course, when he's on the GRE, I listen to that podcast maybe 3, 4, 5 times just to even let his knowledge sink into what I have here. And I don't believe Fritz Haber was mentioned once on the entire podcast, which cost me a bingo square in the Discord chat. Jameson has confirmed that he wasn't mentioned. And this week we have seen the very first MMA Hour, JRE MMA Hour, which was an hour and 40 minutes long, with Joe just going over MMA stuff. And you know, I'm not a huge MMA fan. I don't know all the fighters, but I still listen because I want to get into it. And I feel that the way for me to be able to get into it is to listen to something like the JRE MMA Hour. In the future, if there's any people that are into the MMA that want to jump in and go over with me on this podcast about what he's talking about, I would love to have you on and be able to discuss these things with you because I definitely would like to know more. But again, this is going to be a weekly thing, I believe, as far as Mr. Rogan can do it. And yeah, we're on to the next one. All right, Jameson is one of my homies from the Discord chat, and he says he loves police chase videos. So
The fuck, man? I believe I'm buying from drug dealers and the pimps. This fucking bullshit. I know I haven't. I'm not gonna turn you in, but you're gonna suck my cock.
Oh shit, I'm sorry. Sorry for what? Our dad taught us not to be ashamed of our dicks, especially since they're such good size and all. Yeah, I see that. Dad gave you good advice. It gets bigger when I pull them. Not so hard. I rip the skin. It gets bigger when I pull them.
okay, now on this week on Your Mom's House, Tom Segura and Christina Pazitsky, they go over a little bit of Louis C.K., and you know, I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure. Something to do with jacking off in front of somebody. I have to look into it. I dig Louis C.K. I think this headhunting is a little annoying. I mean, sure, Weinstein and his bullshit definitely has to be looked into. But every guy that's jacked off in front of somebody over the last 40 fucking years to be excused from Hollywood, the place is going to be fucking empty. But that's just my opinion. If you have another opinion, please do not hesitate to throw something up in the comments or let me know in the Facebook chat or in the Discord chat. I'd love to hear from you. Might end up ignoring you, but anyways, check out Tom and Christina. Last week he had a water sommelier in to taste different waters from around the world, which was pretty cool, I thought. Anyways, that's Your Mom's House. High and tight. All right, next up I got Bill Burr's Monday Morning Podcast. And if you listen to Bill Burr, the motherfucker's just a rant that is fucking hilarious the entire time. Just the greatest fucking thing. I listened to it, and the only thing I can remember about this one was something about a stadium being a hot chick with so much lipstick on, she's got it on her teeth. And, it gives you some sports updates and things of that nature. If you're a Bill Burr fan, please listen to it. I do plan on being more involved. From now on, I plan on taking notes as I listen to each podcast so I can remember what the fuck these motherfuckers are saying. And, I probably won't do this in segments as I was before, but anyways, Bill Burr, I checked out his helicopter stand up with the animation about the guy that is dying and goes out on a helicopter ride to sightsee, and that shit was just fucking hilarious. But get a chance, check out Bill Burr helicopter on YouTube. It's funny as hell. Check out Bill Burr Monday Morning Podcast, or the Thursday something before Monday morning, after Monday morning something podcast. The guy's fucking hilarious, so check him out. All right, this week on Jay Leno's Garage, it is a Code Zero. Japanese designer took I believe an Enzo, and I could be wrong, so go ahead and nail me on it if you want, but he revamped it and made it into even more of a supercar. I believe this is a one-off. As you guys know, I'm huge. I love older cars. I love new cars. I love motorcycles. I've got an RC51, which is starting to become kind of a classic in the S Superbike world. It's a 1000 cc V-twin that beat the Ducati in the Superbike World Championship. And Jeremy Clarkson once quoted, "Speed has never killed anybody. Suddenly becoming stationary, that's what gets you." Anyways, if you get a chance, check out Jay Leno's Garage. It's a good one this week. All right, this week on the church, there has been Wheeler Walker Jr. And, of course, they talked about eating pussy and sucking ass and sucking dick, and how he's the baddest ass guy in country, he's the country outlaw. Which, at times can get a little tiring. I mean, I get a little tired of the fucking, the arrogance that is Wheeler Walker Jr. But you know what? Hey, man, if that sells him fucking records, let him have his fucking records. Josh Wolf is always a great guest on the church. I'm not sure how many stars in total they ate this week on church, and so you might have to watch that to check it out for yourself. The third one this week on church, Joey did quite a few podcasts this week. Anita, who has been on, Anita Rodriguez, she has been on the Young Turks, and she's been on a few other things here and there. She's pretty hot, Cuban chick. I wouldn't mind checking out how Ciante she is. Ciante? Fucking somebody correct my speech. Like I said, I wish I had somebody else on here with me. Be like, no, bitch, you're saying it fucking wrong. There she is. Yeah. So Joey had a good Cuban time with her. And if you see me keep looking over this way, it's because I got this 40-inch fucking plasma over here that's showing me TV images, and I look and Addams Family's on. Anyways, so check out church this week if you're a church fan. Got some great episodes. I didn't listen to them all, but I'm sure that most of you church people will enjoy what Joey has to offer. All right, Jocko has just completed his very first 100 podcast, the Musashi Warrior Code in Life with Tim Ferriss. You guys are a fan of Jocko, please listen. I'd love to have a Jocko fan. Come on, join me and talk about what went on to the podcast. I'm not a huge fan of Jocko's, but I believe that he does have some good information for people to check out. And you know what? If you want to come on here and discuss it with me, I'll be more than happy to discuss it with you. Anyways, Jocko, first 100 podcasts this week. Congratulations go out to Jocko. And we're on to the next one. All right, up next we got Nikki Sixx, My Favorite Riff. And this week he talks with Rudy Sarzo. And I didn't realize that Rudy Sarzo had an accent. I didn't know he was, it sounds European. And maybe one of you guys can correct me and tell me what country he's from. But they go over the Quiet Riot days, the Ozzy days, and a few other things. And it's just great to see two musicians get together and talk about music, which I dig. I really like. I play guitar myself. I'm not that great, but you know, I still have fun doing it, and it's kind of cool to check out Nikki Sixx, interview these people on what their favorite riff is. What physically on the guitar is a good thing that they love to play. And so check that out. We've also got Nikki Sixx also did an interview with Sydney Ellen. I have no idea who she is, but I'm going to check it out most definitely. She's a 22-year-old guitarist from California. She was discovered on Instagram. And so that'll probably be the next one from Nikki Sixx that I will check out. All right, this week on Hot Ones, they had Whales battle Spicy Wings live on Hot Ones. I don't know who Whale is. I have no fucking idea. You guys want to clue me in? That'd be great. Whale, that's a good one. Whale, DC rapper, as I'm told by Jameson. See, this is what I'm looking for out of you motherfuckers on the other end of this video connection. Love it. Thank you, Jameson. Whale, he does like Lay's, like Lay's chips. Whale, he does Hot Wings with Hot Ones, season 4, episode 17 on Hot Ones. The next one we got is Bob Saget. It's Bob Saget. That's it. He does Hot Ones. And it's a pretty good episode, not too long. He talks about, I mean, he's a pretty cool guy. I mean, he's old school. He's older than me. But, you know, he handles the wings very, very fucking well. The week before, they had Smoke Show Gabrielle Union on. And apparently she ended up talking like DMX. Goddamn. Whew, goddamn, she's hot. Anyways, so yeah. All right, next up we got the 9 Club with Chris Roberts, episode 70. And his guest this week is Bam Margera. And I tell you what, if you are at all into skating or into Jackass, this is a fucking great episode. I love a comeback story. Fucking Bam Margera was on top of the fucking world. He was hard at Gramming. This motherfucker has sold more skateboards, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but this motherfucker has sold more skateboards, especially pink Hardigram skateboards, than anyone else in the world. I'm not a huge fucking skateboarder, but I listen to this podcast. It's on there. He talks about his days before Bam Margera. He talks about his days at MTV. He talks about after. It's great to see a comeback story like this. He doesn't talk too much about Dunn, as I can imagine that's a little bit of a sore spot for him. And I get that, man. I understand that. I totally get it. But you know what? He talks about the fucking the Castle House. He talks about the state of Bam. and how they had to rent because they were in so much trouble at his place. They had to rent a place 2 miles or down the road that was outside the county where another county would have to deal with it as far as the police and shit. It's a great episode. Fucking riveting from beginning to end. Check it out. My boy Matt. Let me just check it out real quick. I'll get it. His name is Matt Herman. Turned me on to it. I fucking enjoyed every fucking minute of this one. So, if you get a chance, check it out. If you're anywhere at all interested in Bam Margera or Jackass, this is a good listen. All right, we got Kill Tony 236 in 3D with Ron White as the guest. Redban and Kill Tony, of course. Fucking Redban has no fucking idea, but outside sound. I love him, the guy, to death, but fucking Olive Garden, Butthole 7, that motherfucker. He definitely sometimes on this show has his tism all kicked up. But anyways, Ron White's the officiator on this. They've got the band, and a buddy of mine from Australia was supposed to make it down there. His name is Ross Shear. He's the administrator of JRE group on Facebook. There's 22,000 members. And shout out to him because he moderates some fucking idiots and some savages. But for the most part, cool group. Sorry I had to break off and make a podcast only group. That's just the way things evolve. Anyways, if you get a chance, check out Kill Tony. Always a good listen. I guess that Ross and his friends didn't make it to Kill Tony because they had just spent like 16, 20 hours on a flight, landed in LA, and then were too fucking partied out to make it. But I still looked for him on there, and I didn't see him. And they left there, went to Denver, did some snowboarding, hung out with a few people, and I hope they are having the fucking time of their lives. Everybody in the U.S. should welcome some cool motherfuckers like that from Australia into our country to have a good time, because they are cool as fuck. Alright, so one of my favorite fucking podcasts is the Bertcast. And I love Bert. I get a little annoyed every time he starts talking about numbers and Facebook downloads and blah, blah, blah. But you know what? The guy's got a lot of heart. I love him to death. I've never met him. I hope to go see him here in Nashville at Zany someday. But Bertcast 259, Wheeler Walker Jr. with Leanne, his wife. Check it out. It's a good one. The next one is Big J. Okerson, Sal Vulcano from what the fuck's the name? Louis J. Gomez, Dave Smith, and Sal Vulcano is one of the guys from the show on True TV, Impractical Jokers. That's it. And this podcast actually takes place before they go on the cruise, right after Sober October. So the reason why it was released so late, I believe, is because they're talking about what kind of drugs and what kind of shit that we're going to smuggle onto the boat so they could have a good time in November while they were on this boat. So this podcast was before Sober October. They get so drunk, they don't even know what the fuck they're talking about, which I love. I love incoherent rambling, I guess. The Smoke Show there, I think she's hot with the bangs and the blonde hair. Whoever the fuck she is. If you can give me her number, I'll send her a dick pic. But anyways, it's a good podcast. Dave Smith, in the second part of this podcast, fucking hand jobs his microphone so bad that it's almost unlistenable. So if you just gotta fucking try and live through that fucking Dave Smith jack off, it's so bad. He sits there and he does this to his microphone the whole entire time, and you can hear every little fucking caress. Dave Smith, fuck off. I mean, you're a cool guy, I guess. You're liberal, jokes, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Buddy, you fucking cocksucker. Anyways, check out 253 with Big J. Okerson and Sal Volcano, Louis J. Gomez, and Dave Smith. Then we got Birdcast 259 with, it's with Greg Byrne. He's the guy that wrote the book He's Just Not that into you. And they made a movie out of it. They didn't use everything in his book for the movie, but he ended up selling the book to make the movie. And he got tired of talking about the fucking book because he's a stand-up. And it's a good listen. I kind of dig Greg Byrne. They go over the dog prescription codeine era of his life, where he had to check into rehab, but it's a good listen. He's a good guy. I think he was one of the writers on Sex and the City too, also. So who knows? Anyways, it's not a bad listen. Birdcast 260, check it out. All right, now it's time for the shout outs, and I'd like to thank Taylor Wilkinson, Amber Burke. Let's see, who else? Man, I got a whole fucking Jameson from Discord, Trash Boat, Matt Harmon. Oh, man, there's so fucking many people. Let's see, Brendan Cornelius, big fucking supporter over JRE and Kill. JRE and Kill, in case you are wondering, is a Facebook group that I run. Almost 700 people. It's podcast content only. None of the bullshit of these motherfuckers posting Trump posts or fucking jokes or memes or whatever the fuck. It's none of that bullshit. It's just podcast. Little bit of MMA type shit. Let's see, who else do I have to thank here? I have Karen. Karen, you are a huge fucking thing. Lisa Costello, you're cute. Samantha Schaefer Wagner, my sister, she's pretty fucking cool. Let's see who else in this list I got to go on. Matthew Paul Walker for posting cool content over in Joe Rogan Experience. Ross Shearer, he's one of my mods over in JRE and Chill, but he's one of the admins over at the Joe Rogan podcast group, which has over 22,000 members. How he handles all that shit, I have no idea. Ken Shaw, I want to give him a shout out. He's a pretty cool fucking guy. Sheila Hutula, or fucking however you spell her name. She's in my humor group, Humor Me. I'm an admin there and take care of that. And Taylor, like I said, Taylor Wilkinson, I talk to her daily. She's pretty cool. She's been behind me starting this podcast from the beginning. Melissa Murphy, she's fucking cool as hell. Hannah Gregory. Let's see. Greg Wolf. Man, you're cool. Dave Bruhaha. If there's any chance that you can find yourself coming back to Facebook, I'd love to see you. You fucking cocksucker. Ditching out just because people got on your nerves. You fucking bullshitting motherfucker. Alton Thorne, my brother from another mother. And that's all I got from the Facebook side. Let me check out the Discord. We got Mayor, thanks for providing a spot for us to all chat in Discord. Real Vapor, I want to thank you very much for the MP3 that is the intro to this podcast, and I think that you took the time to troll me with that. I think it deserves its space. Now, if you can only make one that's cool, I'd love to hear that. Trev, I'd like for you to stop sending me fucking love notes in my fucking instant message. Trash Boat, thank you for having all the facts on tap for just about anything that anyone fucking brings up. And let's see, Bagstra, all you motherfuckers over in the fucking bullshit pit are fucking cool as hell. And thanks for hanging out with me on the live stream chat and putting up with me. You guys have been great. That'll conclude this fucking very first podcast weekly recap. And I hope you come back. Thanks. All right, I want to thank you very much for tuning in to the podcast recap. I appreciate you listening if you made it this far. The audio has been fucked the entire time. This first episode has happened, so live and learn. I will try to get my shit together so that the next one is not as inaudible as this one is. You guys rock. Fucking thank you very much. Joe Rogan Podcast Group in Facebook. Thank you very much, all the people in Discord chat. And most of all, thank you very much for the people in JRE and Chill who inspired me to do this podcast at all. Hopefully weeks coming up will be a little better than the shit I got going on right now. So, you guys rock. Thanks for listening. If you got anything shitty to say, go ahead and fucking say it. I'm gonna ignore it anyway.
Justice runs up like a tornado. Justice runs up like a